Shit moms won't say.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shit Moms Won't Say. You might recognize my guest tonight from her very own super fun show, Whining Moms. How I know her is a little bit different. She and I did a tarot reading together a few weeks ago, which sent me into a tailspin. So I said, you know what? This chick is legit. She's great. She's funny as hell. She's super real. She's a mom of one, Jacki Jones. Welcome to my show.
Hi.
Hello.
So excited to be here.
And it has to be weird. We were just talking before, like, this is weird for you because you're usually sitting here.
Like the fact that I'm just, that's right. The fact that I'm just sitting here and I'm not like, where am I going with this? What do I have to say next? I'm like, how do I just sit back and enjoy it? Like, where are my notes?
You don't.
I don't have them.
No. And I think people are surprised to learn that I have a notebook. Like, any episode that I've ever had is in this notebook. Like, how do you think I remember like what I'm going to ask people? That's crazy. Do you keep like a full list?
Never. I never keep a full list.
Well, I'll go fuck myself then. That's a great question.
No, I think I like have an idea of like where I want to go with things. And I'm just like, you got this. And then like I have those like 30 seconds of panic before I hit record. And I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? And then I know what I'm doing.
You just know what you're doing. I bullet point. Like when we were chatting before, I was like, here's what I think. And like, it's bullet points. It's not like, here's what I'm going to say, but just to make sure we're
going to stay nice and tidy in our box.
Right. We'll keep it in our, 35 to 40 minute range. And we'll keep it like super compact.
Or maybe people will get an hour and a half today. Who knows?
Depends. It depends on how long we talk and how much we edit, which the answer is 0. So it's just going to be how long we talk. Okay, let's go into the Big Mom 3 because we have some really cool stuff to do and to talk about. So yeah. So first question of Big Mom 3, did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
Yeah, I did. I want to say like when I was younger, I like was always kind of that caretaker friend. So like I always had this maternal energy to me, if you will. So I did always want it, but then I feel like I definitely went through like an age and stage, like post-marriage of like, people, how they just throw that shit out there. Like, oh, when are you going to have a baby? When are you going to have a baby? Are you thinking about a baby? And I feel like this like weird defensive mechanism came out and I was like, oh God, no, like, hell no. Until like one day, I guess it was like, oh yes, I will do this.
Do you so you have one daughter, 3.5.
3.5, Olivia. Yeah.
Olivia. So I'm an only child also. And I wonder, do you get the like, well, when are you going to have more kids?
Yeah. So
that would drive me nuts.
Yeah. So I feel like I got that for a while. Like even I feel like when she was like a baby and I thought, can you back off? But like, I don't feel like it was coming necessarily from a harsh place from people. I just don't think that people realize like the magnitude and weight that can be for somebody. And again, I think I fell back into that defensive mechanism of like, oh, hell no, one's enough. I have my hands full. And then life sort of took me, recently in a different direction. Like I'm getting my master's degree and like props to all of you that do that and like can be pregnant and like do all of that stuff during. But right now I have to take this like selfish time that I know will pay off in the end.
Sure.
And I'm getting my freaking master's degree. So like, I think it's now that I say like, no, now is not the time. And because I've said that, I'm like getting that itch maybe, I think. Like now I'm like, oh, I do want another one now, but I can't and I won't. So one day for sure, like maybe another 1 or 2 down the line. So
okay. Cool. Very cool. Love it. Okay. Second question to the Big Mom 3. What is the like shittiest or most backhanded piece of advice you've ever gotten from another mother or parent?
So I don't know if it's like one specific thing, but I remember like, so I have a lot of people, you know, like in different mom circles and stuff, and people that parent differently. And I'm sort of that social butterfly that has like a bunch of different group of friends. So like I'll have one mom in one group with kids the same age, another mom in another group. And it's like, I don't know if it's backhanded necessarily, but like I was a deeply scheduled person when it came to my newborn, infant, and okay, maybe even now a little bit toddler. I've loosened up a lot. I have, but
listen, I'm not the one who can like, I'm not intuitive. I agree with you. If you're telling me you're not scheduled anymore, I'm going to be like, all right, you're not scheduled.
Yeah. Like to some, it might seem like super scheduled, but compared to how much I've backed off and like let go of like all the control I was trying to do, I feel like I just let control kind of like consume me. So I think it was when I had people kind of like whispering in my ear, whether it be other moms or even like, you know, parents or whatever, just kind of being like, really, you like have to leave the party at 6:59, like you can't just like stay. And I'm like, no, because at 7:15 my kid needs PJs and 7:30 they need to be in the crib. So I think it was kind of that stuff where like I would let the opinions of others kind of get to me and question like, am I doing things right? Right? Like we always wonder like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this to standard? And I learned over time that really parenting, there is just not 1, 2, or even 500 ways to do it. There's like a billion.
Yeah, it's what works for you. That's it.
Yeah.
What works for you and what works for your kid. You know, like we're similar. Like we have a schedule. Like my daughter, she's 1.5. She's in bed. We're filming at 7:58 p.m. She's in bed by 7:30. And you know what? It allows us to like be adults.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
like, yeah, no, maybe the two of us can't go out right now and like party because we're so fucking fun anyway at 35. And I'm like, oh, my back kind of hurts sitting for too long. But like, we can watch TV. We can be adults. Like, we can have our friends over. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'd love to blame the hermit thing, like on COVID. Like, oh yeah, we like can't go out. Oh my God, I'm so sorry for the stampeding. This is going to happen, right? Because we're probably fighting bedtime. It's probably what's happening.
It's emotional. No worries.
Yeah, but again, sometimes I would find that it's that weird thing of like, okay, it's time for bed. I can't wait to get my time on the couch. And then like you plop on the couch and you're like, oh, look at this cute video of my child.
Us do every night. Or like, so we have like the owlet camera, right? Like the second she goes to sleep, my wife and I are like, look at what she's doing. She's sleeping so nice. Oh, she's holding her, you know, there's a little giraffe named Noodles. Like the second she goes to bed, we're looking at pictures of her.
I know.
It's crazy. That's
and
crazy.
I'm like, no, I should be utilizing this time for like something else.
No, use it how you want to use it. It's your time. But I hear that. I think people have a lot of opinions and it's none of your business. None of your business. If it works for you, it works for you. So there you go. Good answer. Okay. Big Mom 3 question number 3. What is a skill or superpower you had before becoming a mom that you think has really helped you as a mom?
I'm going to have to play the empathy card.
It's a good card to play.
Because I feel that for myself, being an empathetic person, like being able to like feel for other people and like care about other people's feelings is really important. So I feel like that transition into motherhood, like even though there are so many things that like suck and are difficult, like it was almost like an easy transition to be able to like fully care for someone else because I always felt for other people, but not to mention not neglecting yourself in the process. So you can easily care for other people a ton as long as you're still like emotionally aware of like what you're feeling. So I think that the balance of that for sure is like a superpower because I don't know many people that can really balance that out.
No, that's a good superpower. That's a real good one. Awesome. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. So yes, total superpower. Not bad. We'll keep it. We're back at the gym.
I'm going to keep I should
vaccinated now. I'm back at the gym. I feel like a human. Okay, so let's kind of shift gears. Let's chat about Whining Moms, and then we're going to get into some other stuff. But let's go there first, because I think that let me backtrack. Something that's been really cool about starting Shit Moms Won't Say, and as we're filming this, we're about 7 months old, and we've had like this great follower success, and it's going really well, and it's exciting in a way. And by we, I mean my friend and I, who kind of do all the stuff for this, had no idea this was going to happen. We like filmed it in the backyard with my idiot mom friends, and we were like, look at all that, we're such cool moms, right? Finding out that this community of moms on social media are not a bunch of like pariah bitches is really cool. Like there certainly are some, but like the community, I feel like, in which like you and I exist or try to exist, is a much more positive and inclusive one. Like,
for sure,
they're happy, like, and there are some moms, like, and I've had some great ones on here, like Rachel Sobel, Whitney Cicero, Tara Click, like some of these women who are just, this is their livelihood, this is their career. We're talking 500,000 followers, they're crushing it. And they're so welcoming to like the new girl in town. They're like, yeah, fuck yeah, there's room for everyone. There's room for everyone to do this, because we all bring our own something
that's right
to the table. I want to talk about Whining Moms. And I know, like, we're sort of joking, like, this is weird for you because you're usually the one interviewing. You've taken a little pause, but now you're sort of coming back. So what's going on with Whining Moms? How did it start and where is it going?
So what's going on with Whining Moms? So that's a great question. Can you ask my publicist? No, I'm kidding. There is none. So Whining Moms was something that I felt was important to do. I want to say I started Whining Moms like 2 years ago. And I was like, I had this like idea, and I like threw it out to like some friends that I had, like, that didn't even have kids, but like were like tech savvy and like new podcasts and stuff. And like, I did not know podcasts, never like listened to them, but I had this idea of like, well, I like to write. I like to, talk to people. So what if I could like write a blog, but also like have a podcast? Ooh, what if I could like interview people? Like, who wants to just hear me talk? Like, if I could have a conversation, that'd be really cool. Where could I go with this? I was like, I want it to be, but like for moms and for dads and for people who like want kids or don't want kids or can't have kids, or like anything you could think of. Like, that was something also that was tough for me, like deciding on that name. I loved Whining Moms, and the way I always described it was like whining moms, but like also whining mom. And it was cute, and like,
yeah,
it worked well. But then I was like, I didn't want it to just seem like it was just a mom platform.
I guess that.
So I actually had my first episode, Kids or No Kids, where I actually interviewed like a cousin who has like decided that she does not want kids at all. And like, that was like a bold first episode choice of like, this is a mom platform, and here's someone who doesn't even want kids.
Yeah.
But maybe that would kind of bring someone in to like, oh, I can still relate to that because it's still in the realm of like parenting.
Yeah.
Of another perspective. So I just wanted to get like all these perspectives. So that's kind of how it started. I was doing really well. My favorite part about all of it, and it's going to sound so freaking cheesy, but were like the nights where I would just be crying on the couch because I just knew that I've even touched one person from it. Like, I've received like DMs of like, oh my God, the person that you had on your episode, like, that is like my story, and it gives me hope. Between people that have had miscarriages and like didn't think it was going to happen again for them. All of these different aspects really brought a sense of community. And it's like, did I do it for money? No. Like, I'm just me sitting here like with an Instagram page and a blog that I've done like 2 blogs on, but like, yeah. It didn't matter because
it's the impact. Yeah.
It was the impact. I said, even if it helps one person, which it has. So that's what's been really cool for me with that. I did take like a really big step back for a while, just because I feel like there were so many things going on, and I was kind of discouraged from the different kind of mom communities that can be out there. And it was like super hard on me. I started feeling all sort of like weird vibes around it and really discouraged. So I kind of just like, you know, left that account as is, not like the momming continued, but the account kind of stopped. But in recent days, I've started brainstorming once again of, I plan on having like dad episodes. Like, how cool to be able to get a couple of dads on the show to talk about.
I had a gay dad on my show, and it was one of my favorite episodes. Yeah. Loved it. Like I had to call him a gay dad. Who am I? A grandma? Like, he was a dad, but he happened to be a gay man. All right, grandma.
A dad nonetheless.
A dad, right. But yeah, like what I love about your vibe, like as a person, as a Instagrammer, as like an everything, is you try to make parenthood very like consumable. And like that was sort of like my goal going into this, is I feel like a lot of people become parents and all of a sudden they're like holier than thou. They know everything. They are the authority on everything. I'm definitely
not either.
And like, it's interesting. You were saying like you have friends in all different age groups with all different age kids. Like most of my friends don't have kids. So I think it's very funny. Like a lot of my friends look to me as like, well, what does Jess think about it? Because I'm like one of the older ones in our friend group and I'm a mom. And I'm like, what the fuck do you care what I think about it? Like, you don't want my opinion on that. But like, so I think it's cool that you're taking, different facets of like life and putting it into like, well, here's parenting. Here's what this looks like for non-parents. Here's what this looks like for moms. Here's what this looks like for gay families. Here, like, I think that's amazing. It's so cool. And I know you were like, did you watch my 2 mom episode? And I was like, no, but I will.
But that's okay. It's there. And guess what? Yeah. The like fun thing about all of this is you can access it at any time. There might be someone watching us right now in like 2 years that like when we're recording this, like kids aren't even a twinkle in their eye.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Like, it's always there and it's always relevant. Like parenting changes based on the world, but like the feelings of parenting don't change.
Yeah.
So what's next? And I know we like went on a little tangent, but what's you're brainstorming and like, I'm obviously going to come on the show. I can't wait. Thank you for having me. Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I'm recording in the background. This is just for me. I'm kidding.
You're going to just take my episode. That's fine. Then I don't have to do anything with it. You could just post it.
No, but that's what's so cool. So like we do similar things and we have similar platforms, but the way we're going to present them is going to be totally different. And that's why
our experiences are so different.
Right. As far as what's next, the brainstorming for sure is there, but I'm trying to be really respectful right now of like my own personal boundaries and emotions.
Now what are those? What are boundaries?
What do those look like? Those are new for me. Okay.
I've never had any of those. Tell me about them.
So I'll try to explain them the best that I can because I'm still learning them myself. What that looks like is, here's me as just a person, but also here's me as a wife. Here's me as a mom. Here's me as a student. Here's me as a daughter. Here's me as a teacher and coach. Here's me as an Instagram, right? So I'm all of these different people. I'm somebody to all these different people, but what I have to be for myself sometimes looks a little different, because if I'm just trying to be all of these things for all of these people, burnout is a real thing. And I'm not even going to be able to give half of myself to half of these people if I'm constantly putting myself on overload. So boundaries, what does that look like for me? Like I said, Whining Moms is there. The ideas are there, right? I'm going to write them down on paper. I'm going to start gathering people, sources, episodes. And when it happens, it happens. I used to pressure myself to like, okay, episode every other week. And then it was like every month. And I like gave it a time and a date. And that became stressful and like anxiety ridden for me. Like I needed to complete that. Otherwise I'm a failure, right?
Sure.
So with that being said, where is Whining Moms going? It's still there. It's there to stay. I'm hoping over the summer, maybe, again, don't like take my word for it, but when I have some time off from my master's program. I'll be able to focus on that a little bit more. Maybe COVID stuff will like let up a little bit too. And like, I can either see people outside or I don't know what that looks like yet. I'm just brainstorming.
Yeah.
But yeah, Whining Moms is there. Here's the thing too, like I follow so many other, I'm sure you do too, so many other like moms and like mom groups and all of that stuff. And I find the ones that I scroll through and I'm like, oh yeah, I like this vibe, are really the all-inclusive ones. You
Absolutely.
don't have to just, they don't just post certain content. They're not just
no. And it's anywhere from like super, super funny to super, super sad. You know, and I feel like that's
above. I love them both.
You need it because otherwise you're not a real person. Like you lose that authenticity and like, and you know, we've had our tarot reading together. So you know a little bit about me. Like I am not a great emotional being. Like I have emotions. I know that. Everyone relax. I'm not great at like putting it all out there. Doing this has been a challenge because I feel like the reason why people are picking up on it is because I'm allowing myself to do that. And I feel like the reason why people like Whining Moms because they see you and they're like, that's a super real person. Like she's funny. She's depressed. She's this, like, she's all of the things that make an actual human being. You're not just a meme mom. You're not just a quippy mom. Like,
like memes are like funny as hell, of course.
Great.
And like, I like them all day long.
It's right. It's not all day. You can't because it's not real.
Yeah. There's also like a picture of me somewhere, I think on Whining Mom's Instagram of me like a year and a half ago, like summertime, passed out on my couch. It was like a picture my husband like snapped of like, I was in between jobs. Like my daughter was taking a nap. The dishes were piled up in the sink. Right. And I was just having like a human moment of, I just needed to like lay and close my eyes and like people being like, oh, she posted like the 3 funny memes, but like, here's her struggling a little bit. Like, so the rawness is there. Like we're all human.
And I feel like if you're authentic in your posting, which you are, and I try to be, and I follow moms who I feel like are, it doesn't have to be very difficult, you know, because it's sort of like, oh, this is something funny that happened today. I'm going to talk about that. Oh, this is something that's sad that happened. Like, I'm going to talk about that. Like, this is how I'm feeling. This is how my friends are like, you're able to really create this like all-encompassing view of your life and parenthood without really having to think a ton about it.
Yeah, like if you have to think, does this fit into my content?
It doesn't.
Then like you're not being authentic.
Yeah. And like there are so many pages and I wouldn't call that out, but like maybe I would, maybe I won't. I won't do it. I won't call it out, but there's a lot of you. And let's take a page out of some other people's books here. I have been in sales and marketing my whole life. So I've sort of studied these like algorithms and I understand like you shouldn't post at 5:30 because moms are having dinner. Like those are things you research and you understand. But more importantly, it's that like source of truth that matters, that authenticity that people read. And I feel like you do a really good job of that. And we're friends, like your personal page and Whining Moms. And I feel like you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's Jacki. That's who she is. Like, I didn't question like coming into this day being like, who am I going to get? You know, like, like I know you through your post because it's very authentic.
And something else while we're on authenticity, like you're talking even about algorithms, which like, okay, like maybe I should even be smarter than that. But again, me being like real to who I am, anytime I like had, whether like 1 a.m. or 5:30 during dinner, if that was like a posting time and I like thought of something I wanted to post, that's when I would post. It wasn't for the likes and for the, like that was just me posting. So that goes to show too, like, it didn't matter when, I just wanted to make some sort of impact.
Yeah, you were just sharing. And the DMs are the best part. That's so cool to like have people reach out and be like, hey,
I cried. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Awesome. So Whining Moms will be back. I cannot wait. It will be super cool. And whatever you put down on paper, whatever it ends up being, it will be authentic, it will be funny, and it will be wonderful.
Yeah.
So everyone cannot wait for Whining Moms to come back. So let's shift gears a little bit. So you, like I mentioned at the top of the episode, like you and I met through a friend of mine who you like went up to at a moon circle and you were like, hey, I have something to tell you about yourself. And this is one of my best friends. And she was like, yo, this girl's legit. And I was like, okay.
Okay. But I just want to rephrase this.
Okay.
I asked permission
yes.
if I could share. Because one thing that I'm big with is I don't just go up to people saying, ooh, I have to tell you something because, well, boundaries, right? So yeah, I for sure was like,
you did ask, you did let me know, can I tell you something? Yes.
Yeah.
But this was then relayed to me and I was like, bullshit. And she was like, not bullshit.
Wait, I don't fully even know this story. Can you like tell me what that conversation was like?
Yes. So without blowing up one of my besties' spots, you went up to one of my friends at a class or a moon circle. I think it was at Buddha Barn.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Mitchell.
Yeah, you don't have to give specifics of what I.
No, I won't. And I know we sort of like operate in that same circle. So it was at Buddha Barn, Kelly Mitchell, Elaine Jamat. I love you both so much. And you went up to a friend of mine and said like, hey, I have something to tell you about yourself. And it was really about like, next steps in like family planning and what life looks like down the road. And like, I guess you had noticed, a bit of an adverse reaction to a meditation that was done. And you were like, I felt this about you. Here's why I think I feel this about you. And then you guys connected further later on.
Yeah. It was, again, I had never met this person in my entire life. I've never seen her, didn't know her name.
Yeah.
It didn't matter because that's just how it works sometimes. But like sometimes I don't feel compelled to like talk to people about things. But I think it was also the setting that we were in that I really was feeling like, okay, well, she's already kind of like into this stuff. So maybe it's something that she would want me to talk about. But like, let me ask.
Yeah, no, I mean, she thought it was amazing. And I know like her conversation after that with you, she thought was amazing. And then she came to me, who is like, you know, taking my like meat hammers and throwing them across the room. And she's like, this is something you should do. And I was like, that's stupid. And then, you know, what's so funny? It turned out to not be stupid. Not at all. Like you sort of blew. So we did, let me end on the word blow. Good for me. You blew everyone's mind. So we've seen our same two friends all through COVID. There are our two pals. We call it our squatty potty because we think we're very funny. And, and we did like a virtual tarot reading with you because we're like, hey, let's do a fun Saturday night activity.
So fun.
So fun. Also, the four of us walked away from this being like, okay, because it was very spot on. Some positive, some, and I wouldn't say negative, that's the wrong word for it, but some informative.
Right.
Very informative. And I would say that mine was very informative to the point that I was like, all right, this chick's legit. This is real. Like, this is really, really cool. So I want to understand it because I've had on the show before who I'll go to for Reiki because I'm a believer in it now that I've done it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just asked her like, hey, walk me through what this all looks like, because it's not something that comes naturally to me. So, you know, I want to understand, like, when did you know this was like something that made sense for you to pursue, like from an intuition standpoint, but also like, I know you're a Reiki healer as well. So like, how did you kind of connect to these things? And then also like you're getting your master's in like mental health care. So you recognize that these two pieces of the puzzle really fit nicely together. So I'm going to like, shut up for a second. I want to hear about like your.
No, I'm loving this. Keep talking.
Okay. I have nothing left to say. So
I feel like is you're being really passionate about all this right now. You're being really passionate about it.
Well, I like it. I think that it's interesting. It's something that for me, and I've said this on here before, it's not something that was ever on my radar as legitimate.
I was just going to ask you that. I was going to ask you prior to us meeting, talking, and having your session, like, was this something that you felt like you believed in, or?
I guess I always thought there was like something to it. And I always felt like there were people who were more legitimate than others. And I still think that. I think that in the Reiki world too, like there are people that this is something that they should be doing. They have this ability to heal and to connect and like the true empaths of the world. And then there are people who take a class who say, well, I'm a Reiki healer. those are the people for like someone like me that if I were to end up on like a Reiki healer's table, it wouldn't go well. But connecting with people that are very legitimate, and I've now had the truly like the honor of meeting people that are, I am impassioned by it. I think it's very cool. And somebody who's been in and out of therapy for so long and struggled with so many different facets of mental health, whether it's, do I want to be on medication? I hate being on medication. Do I like this therapist? Whatever it may be, exploring another path of healing and wellness has been very, very interesting for me. Especially seeing the things that have come from embracing it more.
I love that honesty that you're giving too, because by you even just saying these things out loud, you're actually like acknowledging it to yourself first and foremost. Like, I feel like it might even be weird to hear you saying all of this stuff back to yourself of being like, oh, I did that. I said that.
Look at all those things.
I feel like you hit the nail right on the head when you were talking about puzzle pieces, because I actually see that vision sometimes, like in regards to like my life and career and where I'm headed, of finally, I feel like for the first real time in my life, things are connecting as they should, and that I'm actually on the path that I should be on. This is, I want to say, like new-ish for me, in a sense where, like, did I 5 years ago see this being what I did? No way. Do I think that some people look at what I do and picture me to be sitting here with like a ginormous crystal ball? And like, also what I like to start my readings with is this, it would be pretty boring if I sat here with like a magic 8-ball, right? That I shake. And like, if you're asking a question and here's yes or no,
just hold it up.
Really doesn't work that way. No. Especially tarot goes much, much deeper than like, it's no Ouija board. And like, not that I'm knocking like any of that stuff, but that's just not what I do. And I think there's a huge misconception, like with this kind of stuff of like, what exactly like is it? And it's so funny because some people know me and obviously trust me and love me, but there's still like a weird sense of like fear and like mystery around it, right? Of like, ooh, I'm scared. I'm like, what do you think? The card's going to jump up and bite your hand off? Like, I'm like, just trust. Okay. Sometimes the scariest thing though that can happen for people is, I like to say, this is almost like a form of like deep therapy, in a sense of like, you think you're coming in being like, what do I need to do to allow love into my life, right? This is me like posing a type of question that someone can ask, right? And I'm like pulling a past card that is like representative of like, you've been in repetitive cycles that have not worked for you. And why is there somebody that you like keep going back to that you know is bad? And people are like, oh, it's too much. I'm not ready for it.
Just wanted you to tell me if I should go to art school.
So like, that's just like a little like example of like, sometimes like things come up. And again, some people are like, whoa, how do you know that? And it's a mix of like, I use cards that definitely help guide the session, but there's for sure an intuitive piece as well that goes with it. So there might be some things that are not necessarily on the card, which most of the cards, like things are not even written on, right? It's interpretation. There's a visual. There are lots of different representations, but I kind of just use my intuition that I've learned, like, I want to say over the last year, it's been really to trust. And I've spent a lot of time with myself, my thoughts, my car, you know, like all of these different components that I feel I need to really connect with to trust. So practicing like a year, which doesn't sound like a lot of time, but what I will tell you is, this has been a part of me, I will tell you, my whole life. I didn't know it.
Has to have been. Yeah. It has to have been, for sure.
I didn't know there was a name, and I'm doing this like all night.
You're really, you're sort of digging on the air quotes, but I mean, listen, if that feels natural to you,
it feels natural to me.
And do it.
So I didn't know that there was a name for people like me, right? I like consider myself to be an intuitive empath. So I guess I walk around sometimes. Let's go back to like me as, I don't know, like a 15-year-old. I'm just going there. Right. And I like feel certain things and I'm either like upset or, this or that. Like I feel different things, but it's weird because like there's no reason I should feel those things. And I was never able to place that it wasn't my own, because like why would I have looked into those things like at a younger age? I just didn't, and I didn't know. I remember like now where I'm taken sometimes during like meditations and stuff, I have a visual of myself always when I was younger looking out my window like at night before I'd go to sleep, whether looking at the sky or the stars, and feeling and knowing like there was something more for me, there was something big. It's a weird thing, and I had like pretty much, I don't know, subconscious, whatever you want to call it, had forgotten about it until like more so recently with meditations. And I'm like, oh, I think I've like always known, but like humans are humans and life is life, right? And we walk through and we cloud ourselves with day-to-day things. What am I making for breakfast? I'm driving to work, have to bring the kid here. I have class at this time. I have this assignment due, right? We're doing all of these things and we never allow intuition to just happen. We actually all have it. Every single person, like every single person. So it's a really special thing. And I just feel really grateful that I've allowed myself to take this journey, because it was kind of a scary one to take, because when you go from like not being this person, like I remember people asking me like, oh, like when did this like happen to you? Like when did you start like doing this, right? And I was like, I like I really have no answer for you.
Yeah.
Like I just do it. And I mean, the proof is like in the pudding. Like I always start off with like, you can't make the shit up. And like, not every card says the same thing. They're all like completely different, right? There's like so many different things that can happen during the reading. So I feel like this is definitely where I'm supposed to be. I've learned to follow the intuition. I follow my gut. I follow my heart. Reiki has helped tremendously with like unblocking and opening myself up. And it's just been a really beautiful journey. And I feel like to most, this sounds like I'm sitting here like kumbaya, like, because it's not all pretty. There are for sure struggles. But for the most part, I just love that I'm able to assist people in their healing, because people come to me for readings, like sometimes just for fun, but other times you find like such a deep sense of purpose of the reading. Like you come in like not even asking a specific question, but you just take so much out of it. So for a reading, like for when I had the reading with you guys, right? Typical 3-card spread, past, present, and future, right? Some people might say like, oh, well, why are you doing a past card? Like, Jackie, my past already happened. I don't need to know about that. Oh, but you do, because this past card usually is representative of what sort of jump started this path that's going to unfold for you in your reading. We have all these different paths in life, right? Our career path is different than our love path, which is different from, we have all these different winding roads. At some point, they all connect and mesh, but they're all different. And basically, readings just stand as a guide for you. That's another misconception I feel. People think they're coming into a reading like learning their fate.
Right.
And
this is it. This is the thing.
Right. And I'm usually like, I do not predict the future set in stone. Why? Because we're humans that have free will. So I always say in every reading I've ever done, if you don't like it, do you remember what I say to you? If you don't like it,
change it.
Change it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're getting this heads up right now of like, this is a likely course that this path is taking you on.
This is the path you're on right now.
Right. And unless, if you don't like where it's going, what are you going to do differently? So it really kind of gets in deep there. So that's with tarot. And then oracle cards. Sometimes I throw in some oracle cards because I feel like those are like the little side dishes to the meal, right? So like you have your tarot, that's like the juicy stuff. And then like, I mean, you could do just an oracle reading too, and it's just as powerful. But sometimes I like to throw them in there as like, here's a little extra for you.
I love it. I love it. And like our reading together was very, very eye-opening. And it definitely fell into that, like, okay, my past card made a lot of sense. And I don't care saying it. My past card was the Lovers, which like was very indicative of like my authenticity started when I met my wife and sort of became myself. My present card was, I think it was like the Nine of Swords or something. I don't know. The image was somebody getting stabbed through the head with a lot of swords. So like, I don't know. I felt really good about that.
I'm pretty sure it's not the head, and you're being a little dramatic.
It totally was. It was like right back this way. It wasn't great. Whatever the card would, I remember looking at it and being like, huh, okay. And
right,
then
but this just goes to show that people see these cards and are like, does this mean that I'm dying? And it's like the most hilarious thing. Of course, yes, of course you're dying.
Of course, that's what it meant. And then the future one was Three of Swords. Three of Swords? I don't know. Something that was like not great. But then there was this very wonderful like rider card that sort of fell out. That was the Three of Wands that like it sort of wrapped it all together. So I mean, I walked away from it just because I'm a psychopath, like calling my friend who's, you know, a Reiki healer. And I was like, fit me in. And then she was like, all right, like fucking relax. Like, let's talk about this. And obviously it's fine. And I'm fine. And everyone's fine. But I was sort of blown away because it was so spot on and it wasn't done in a way. And like, you're making fun of yourself that like, people are probably like, oh, she's sitting here like this. Like, I'm the biggest skeptic on the planet. Like I walked away from our time together being like, that was very spot on and very cool. And I like took something away from it of saying, okay, if you don't like it, fucking change it. So I think it's amazing. I think it's really, really cool. And I want to kind of get into two things. So first of all, you're going to pull some cards, which is super fun.
Oh yeah.
You're the first person I've ever had pull cards on the show. So that's amazing.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy.
Let's do it. And then after we pull cards, I have another like follow-up, more like mommy related, but let's do the cards and let's go there. So let's
whatever you want. I'm rolling with it. You want to know why? Because I'm the guest, baby.
You're a guest, baby. You don't have to do shit. You don't do anything. Not that I do anything either, but here we are.
So I think, let's see how we're going to do this. For tonight, what I'm going to do is, well, first I'll start with, I was guided to use the Good Tarot for tonight. This is one of my tarot decks that I have. I'm going to shuffle while I kind of talk. Sure. I'm going to just pull one card. But for anyone watching or listening, I just want you to know that at whatever point in time, right? Because we think like, oh, I wasn't watching exactly when this was done, right? Time is just this funny thing that I'm not even going to get into really right now about time, but it doesn't matter. All I'll say is it doesn't matter when or where you're listening. If you're listening, this card is intended to apply to you here and now when you're listening. So with that being said,
and I'm also sorry that I'm like going to cloud whatever energy that's going to be. So.
All right. So with this one card, I've asked what the collective needs to know right now in this moment. Okay. Moms, dads, brothers, sisters, whoever's watching. Here's just a message. And very interesting. So in tarot, there's major arcana and there's minor. This is a major arcana card and it's the Chariot, which is a very transitional card for me. Okay. It's represented by the number 7. And I probably should have checked this out before we did this. I don't know. Are you visually able to kind of see?
Yeah. Hold it up again. I mean, I can see it. So yeah. So it's like a woman.
There's like this dark and there's like a brown and a white horse. Okay. And she's kind of just like riding nice and tall. She doesn't really seem like worried, like the expression on her face. And I'm just going to give you guys, again, I'm trying to keep this short and sweet, and it is for the collective. So it's a lot less direct. And if we were having, a personal reading, it would stand for much different.
Very direct. Yes.
But there's sort of like an affirmation with this card. Okay. Everything I have worked for, including the obstacles I have faced and overcome, is now part of this time of victory. I have learned to see all aspects of my life as essential to my growth. I have fallen, but now I am risen again to live freely, truthfully, fearlessly and skillfully. Yeah. Okay.
Whatever, Jackie. What do you know? Get out of here.
What do I know?
Get out of here. I'm sweating from that card. Are you kidding? I'm like, why would you say something so nice about the collective good me? Okay. Fair.
Okay.
Interesting.
So I do feel that this is going to be a time of transition and sort of victory and triumph. Like you've already gone through the sticky. And I'm really feeling like the dark and light represented here is kind of like that balance, right? Of like, we all have light and dark within ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So like sometimes we can be kind of like icky and have these like ego kind of traits that maybe we want to like acknowledge and step out of. And I feel like that's sort of what that transition is going to look like to being the person you want to be and stepping into your own, personal power. Yeah. And let's just add on to that. Because I feel like there's going to be a little bit more. I'm going to pull from my energy oracle as
little
well.
Side dish.
This
Little side dish.
No, I really hate to say that about my baby oracle cards because I love them so much. They're like really not just the side, they're juicy as well. And I love them. Sometimes I feel like tarot is so great, but like I also just love my oracle cards because there's just such a variety. I feel like I could just talk about cards all night, but I'm not going to do that. With that being said, let's just add on this extra card. And it's going to be representative of sort of like our energy in this scenario, situation, transition. Okay. We have deceit.
Okay.
Okay. So really what I'm feeling is this triumph that you're going to be sort of transitioning from something that's icky and sticky. There's going to be outside forces, like besides just these internal battles, there's definitely going to be some outside forces that are happening that you feel like you can't control and that you're either being lied to, manipulated. Now, this can also be, this can be a friend. This can be in a work environment. So we don't have to just keep it, and likely whatever's coming into your mind right now, it may very well be that for you. And this is what I mean by we're all intuitive people, right? So like instantly I say that and something comes into your mind, right? So again, this is not meant to be like so harsh. It's just to bring awareness to like, watch out for that, okay? Because there might be something coming along, whether it be internally or externally, that you might not feel like you're even being truthful with yourself. What are you hiding from yourself? Like, is there an icky part of you that you don't want to face? Is there a certain mechanism that you use to the outer world that you don't really want to use, right? And I feel like everyone's heads are going to start.
Sure.
Mine's going to turn a little bit right now, but that's okay because it makes you think about these things. And this is what's important. And this is what we need to know right now.
Bravo. And I'll think about it forever after we're done here today. But thank you. That's super cool. And I think I can't imagine anybody's going to hear that and whatever time they hear it and not be able to say, oh yeah. And like, obviously you and I are talking live right now. So for me, I was like, got it. 100% got it. Both of them got it. Amazing. So let's jump over like one tiny step because you have a daughter, you have a 3.5-year-old daughter. I also have a daughter, one daughter right now. We'll see what happens, but you are so in tune with emotions. And like you said, empathy is your superpower. What's sort of your like vision of raising a daughter, and how are you taking these superpowers that you have and helping her become a mindful, honest, intuitive person from such a young age? What does that look like?
It looks like me reminding her often that we are fairies.
I love that. Oh, I
yeah.
love it.
for sure. So there's a little bit of that magic that I definitely like to keep alive. You know what I mean? Because guess what? The real world's going to happen whether we like it or not. Some people may say, you're telling your kid she's a fairy. She's going to like grow up and be this Looney Tune. Well, guess what? No, she won't. I'm sure she'll probably work, you know, in corporate America, whatever, you know, like I'm kidding, obviously, but you know what I'm trying to get at. Like,
no, it's like an innocence of explaining feelings. That's great. I love that.
Yeah. I feel like from a really young age, I started just like teaching her simple things. So like if she's afraid of something, like we do have one ongoing situation of something that she has been afraid of for like a year and a half.
Okay.
Like it has a name. It's like a whole thing. So whenever she's afraid of that, I've told her actually certain things today to say. She calls it like her meditate, right? She like closes her eyes. I am safe. I am protected. She's been saying these things from like when she started talking, because I felt it was important. It's empowerment. It's also allowing her at a young age to take control of if she wants it to, you know, to stop or whatever, you know, like, you know, go away. I'm safe. I'm protected. I'm in white light. So I like teach her all these little things of if you're scared, that's okay because you can protect yourself. Even little things. So I do something every day when I wake up called surround, ground, and shield. And actually anyone really can do this. It starts from the minute you open your eyes. You don't even have to like do anything. The second you get out of bed, I pretty much picture myself in a bright white protective bubble of like white light, you know, protected. I ground. So I like picture my feet pretty much like connecting with the ground and allow myself to release anything throughout the day that I don't want to feel or that does not serve me. I actually can connect with the earth and release it. Doesn't mean my problems are going to go away. It doesn't. But the universe is actually there to catch a lot of things that we don't think that it can. And shield, I actually envision almost like a police shield or something, right? Covering my heart and my solar plexus. I envision it wrapping around me, protecting, you know, like my heart and anything that might try to come at me. So even talking it out, it was quick, but it's even quicker when you literally just picture white light connecting with the earth, shield to protect you. Right. And these are, and I also envision it for her, my family, you know, like I'm able to like protect other people too. Thoughts are powerful things.
That's awesome. That is so cool. All right. Well, you have blown my mind once again. So let's start to wrap it up. I have two final questions for you.
Okay.
3.5-year-old. So I love asking this question because I have moms on here that have kids of all different ages. So 3.5 years old, middle of a pandemic. What is something as a mom you literally could not live without right now?
That's a good one. What can I not live without? I'm going to have to go with takeout.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And agree.
Those nights you like just can't bring yourself to do it. Like you want to be healthy, you want to cook, but like, oh, thank God restaurants are still open and, you know, takeout.
Best one yet. Absolutely. Same here. Okay. Last question. What is something you know now that you wish you knew before becoming a mom?
You don't have to live up to anyone else's standards but your own. And even you don't even have to live up to your own because it's still going to be okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you? Whether it's for tarot readings or Reiki or Whining Moms, what's the best way to find Jacki Jones online?
Oh, for sure. Instagram. It's Jacki 0, but there's no E in my name. So it's just JACKI with a 0. And Whining Moms is spelled just that way. WHINING, like Whining Moms. Yep.
Moms, but not really. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for tuning in. Well, we'll see you next week. What an outro, right?
Shit moms won't say.